Hi, Danielle.
Hi, Casey. I'm sorry. I'm already laughing.
Me too. I guess we should just bring our guest out right from the top. She's here and yet she's not here.
I mean, she's never not doing many things at once, and this doesn't change it.
Right. It's like you think you got her and you do.
You do, but many people have her at the same time.
Right. It's not that you're not getting her, but others are as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that human is dear friend, June Diane Raphael. You know her. You love her. She's dare I say, favorite guest.
Yes. She's really
actress, producer, writer, founder of the Jane Club, which she's going to speak more about. Lovely human, activist, author.
Yeah. And
anything else? Writer.
Yeah, writer. Director, I believe. She's done.
She's now directing us.
Constantly. Directing us to dress better. To dress better, too.
Directing us all to ask more from ourselves. Please welcome June Diane Raphael.
Oh, my goodness gracious. It is so good to be here.
Are you here? Because
barely.
We're in a Zoom together and we and Dana, our producer, see each other, but we don't see you.
No.
And then you did turn on your camera and show us what you were doing. And
it was,
what's that?
Now, first of all, I asked Dana to avert her eyes. I hope this video is not being recorded. I don't want to hear from Earwolf from HR. But I am... At the same time, I'm giving everything I can to this podcast.
I hear you like slathering something.
Well, I'm also applying a self-tanner.
To your naked breasts. That's what we saw.
Yes.
You were.
That's the area I happened to be on.
You had a full towel on your head. You had just stepped out of the shower or the bath.
Between those things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so as you know, I have a wonderful spray tan artist who usually comes to my home. But because of the global pandemic, one of many terrible outcomes has been
less
terrible, of course, than many others. But
not for her
the beauty industry.
Less,
yeah, the mobile beauty industry has certainly.
Oh my God!
Seems like you've taken a hit.
And its customers
and its bodies
and its breasts and it seemed nipples.
Yes,
and it's
so I have started. I have started to do my own tanning at home, and I've had some under the tutelage of a dear friend, Michaela McManus, who has been a long time self tanner, and I'm working with her system. So I have gloves on.
June!
Yeah.
I mean, I almost want to say, do you have any respect for this podcast? And yet what I've seen, because let me add another wrinkle to all of this.
I hope it doesn't come off that way. I've got nothing but respect.
It doesn't come off that way. And here's why. Okay. Because that's what I'm saying. You're giving 100 to both activities. And not only that, June and I are in the same house right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Different rooms.
So,
okay. So I offered to set us up at the table thinking we were going to have a glass of wine, look at each other. I brought 2 microphones.
Yes.
I said, where should I set us up? And she said, I'll be in my room, putting my son down. And I didn't know about this.
I left that part out. Now, I genuinely didn't think I was going to be able to fit it in. So this was a shock.
And we were running late.
I know.
You said you also needed to finish an episode.
I did all those things. I did all those things.
I am sure.
And I know it seems like I don't have respect for this podcast, but Casey, you should know by now, after spending so much time with me this week, that I have just as much
if
respect
not more
or disrespect for this podcast than I do many other things in my life.
That's what I was getting to, is that it's actually, you do need to be around it enough, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you just see the naked breasts and the tanner and you're like, this is my first meeting with you, it's hard.
Well, I also remember you telling us recently when actually your husband was on the podcast and you guested for a moment. And you said, said to us that while you're in therapy, you are in the bath completely naked.
Yes.
And so this shouldn't shock me, and yet it does.
Yeah.
Now, listen, not to bring it to Jane Club, but I actually had almost an accident in the bath because I took a holotropic breathing class that we offer.
And those are great classes. Shout out Amy Merrill.
Yes, but I will advise people to not do that submerged in very, very hot water, because that's the other piece of it is I like a hot bath.
Okay, I want to quickly tell a hot bath 2-second story, and I think he will allow it, but our friend Michael's mother, this is the greatest story ever. Matt McConkey's boyfriend, Michael's mother this is my favorite story ever. So she's a lovely, gorgeous, gorgeous woman. And she sent a video text to their entire family. She likes to like show herself doing things. You know, like here I am at a restaurant, here I am this. And she sent a video of herself getting into a spa bath. And she was getting in and going, hot bath, hot bath. But as she did, the camera drifted down and showed everything. And she sent it.
No.
Hot bath. So Matt's always saying hot bath. She's a hero and I a gorgeous woman. I wish I'd seen that video. But what I was going to say, June, is like, can I say some other things? If you see something, say something this week.
Sure.
Okay. Here's what I've witnessed, Danielle. The second I think here we are sitting down, like now
it's just the two of you. It's just the two of you now.
Well, and not even just the two of us, Danielle. You would think the two of us plus our 4 children combined.
Yes.
So it's like, to me, that's already a huge activity. You know, supervising 4 kids under 6 in a pool.
Yes.
To me, that's like,
mine are not water safe also. So keep that in mind.
yeah, like that's the activity, I think.
Yes.
Then a margarita will come out. Okay, it's like now we're like, woo,
okay,
let's really keep our eyes here, you know? And then I see June's computer come out at the pool. And okay, well, what's this now?
Okay.
And you think, is she checking a quick work email? Then I see her hosting a very nice, a kind of like a phone bank for a candidate, but not only Nithya, but not only like doing some calls, you know, like to get people to vote for her, but hosting the phone session.
Wow.
People like, do you have any more feedback? Yeah. With one hand is on a computer. Another one is in a pool. Then I see her get in the hot bath, but doing it very well. And that's my point, because I'm not trying to sell anything. Either of these things you're doing short in a hot tub.
That.
Can I ask a question?
I appreciate that. Yeah.
My question is, when's the last time you did just one thing? Like just one thing.
God.
Great question.
You know?
Such a good question. I mean, I will say that when I am on, I was about to say calls, but this does seem like a call, doesn't it? When I think, keep on getting turned right back around.
Yeah, because therapy, what you would think is the place.
No, but that, as we know, that is not a non-multitasking situation.
But that's also where June sleeps a lot.
Oh, that's true.
Yes. And by the way, as Casey knows, my therapist did ask me to stop commenting. So I did receive a pretty firm, a termination.
No, you received a termination notice from your therapist.
Yes.
What was her
reasoning? It was hurtful, but okay, so as you know, I was having a lot of trouble going to the appointments. And I don't think since like we've been in quarantine, I think I've probably been able to make, I don't know, maybe 4. Mm-hmm. You know, that's not a lot. And please know I've paid handsomely for all the ones I've missed.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I do go, I sleep or go for like 20 minutes, you know? So I was definitely sending some signals. And what she said ultimately was like, you know, I think you don't want to be here.
Okay, what a learned therapist.
Yeah. And it was actually very painful. I love this woman.
I feel like I know her. I love her.
I know.
I feel like I've gone to her more than you almost.
I know. And I love her dearly. And this is not really a goodbye. This is just like right now.
See you after the nap.
Yeah. After I've been sleeping for so long here, it seems like I don't want to be awake for this. And what she very astutely pointed out was because I've had so much grief in my life, it's very hard for me to actively like say goodbye to her. So what we landed on was like, I was not willing to do that myself and lose her. So she kind of had to, I don't want to say force it.
Set you free.
And again, I kept on saying, yeah. And I think at a certain point she felt uncomfortable taking my money, you know, but she said also that that basically...
You seem out of breath.
Yeah, sorry.
Are you doing a Stairmaster?
I had to get some lotion for my knees.
More?
No, the lotion is on. I just had to get some lotion to kind of even out some spots. This is just regular lotion. So what she said was like, I think because I've had so much in my childhood that was like about waiting for people and not wanting to be kept waiting, not wanting to be left alone. She said that essentially I was playing that out again in therapy with having her waiting for me for the whole session. So that was, again, astute and right. And so we have ended our time together.
Wow.
Which, again, I was not going.
Were you there to end it?
So that was a big thing that came up because she emailed and said, like, hey, I do want to, like, see you. And I want to say, she basically wrote first and said, I think you're telling me you don't want to be here anymore. And I think I need to listen to that. And I was like, okay, I'm really hurt that you would just say goodbye to me this way. And she was like, no, I do want to see you. So then we had one appointment that I really knew I couldn't miss.
Right.
So I was just about 20 minutes late to it. I didn't make the whole thing.
I gotta say, like, I'm honored you logged on before I did.
You really did log on.
This must be a huge sign of respect.
Yeah. No, I am on time. I'm actually someone who really values.
I was going to say because
being on time.
Yeah, you are.
Because
I really value being on time.
I'm a very on time person. I'm like a 10 minutes early waiting in my car type of person. And I've never found you to be a late person.
Because I'm not. But that it wasn't about being late. It was about like, I'm going to have, guys, it's so dark, but it was basically like, I want to be able to do whatever I want to do here. And you're going to wait for me.
And I'm going to pay for it.
I'll pay handsomely to not receive your help. Okay? On areas I really need.
Oh.
And that's what we're doing here.
Wow.
That's work.
There's more.
No, that's the work she's going to be doing. I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
This is your work. Wow.
Wow, I can't believe you said goodbye. But goodbye for now.
For now.
Yeah.
For now. I have an open invitation. I received a lovely email from her that I'll cherish.
I'm crying. What did it say? I am crying. I'm sad. I feel like
I know. She said,
wow.
I've been like really struggling with what to write back. So it's just been
maybe this could just be the forum.
Yeah. Maybe if you say to her, can you
send her a link?
Give a listen to this week's and subscribe and rate it if you don't mind.
She wrote a few more thoughts. And again, this was unprompted. And she said, I wanted to share a few more thoughts to be sure my own feelings are clear. I'm very impressed and proud of how you've grown as a woman in your career as a wife and mother and as an activist. It's been a privilege to witness and be part of. I will miss our time together and you. I am here whenever you want to reach out and for whatever you need. I will always welcome knowing who you are.
Wow.
I'm crying.
I know.
Wow.
But it's not, I know, Case, it's big. I've been with her for 10 years, everyone.
Wow.
Over.
She's been, and
sorry to break this to you, Casey. We've been together a week and I haven't mentioned it. Honestly.
June just appeared on camera. That's what
naked.
No, I have a towel on. It's honestly been too hard to even talk about. But I do think there's a time and a place for some of this work. And
totally.
I'm going
to miss her.
I know.
And
what I'm going to write back is I have a lot to say to her. But
just a series of Z's.
Just white noise.
You started, but you fall asleep in the middle of whatever.
Well, I have tried to start it a number of times, but it's so much. There's so much history. But what I want to write back is I do want to be on a list or something of people should anything ever happen to her. That's actually something I've been concerned about, that I won't receive information, you know?
Is she older?
No.
Seems like this is something you guys should have
probably worked on.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, that's what became clear, by the way. She was like, the troubling thing is the fact that you're having such a hard time even getting here to leave means that you need this so much. And I was like, yeah.
Look, there is no time right now. Time is, we're all laughing, but it's the most precious resource.
It really is. And Paul, we were talking about therapy the other day here in our house, but it's like, I was also having trouble getting in and out of it. Like the days are so full that I was never feeling like I was in a place to quite drop into where I needed to be in that space.
That has been my problem with therapy, especially during this pandemic, because I've needed it so much. And yet I'm so distracted. I'm so overwhelmed, especially emotionally right now, especially with the school. There was no school and there's no school again. I mean, like that is all so difficult and still working to manage it all than to just sit down and do therapy. Like it just feels like I don't have that time to drop into it at all.
Totally.
I'm so distracted with everything.
I am such an advocate for therapy, and I have been in this for, again, let's see, since 2006, like this many, many years. And for many years, I was in psychoanalysis. So going multiple times a week, some weeks, 5 days a week. So I do feel like I have done a lot of this work. I in no way feel like I don't need it. That's the weird thing. I just feel like it's not the time for it right now.
Yeah. And I've gone in and out of therapy.
Season for everything.
Yeah.
I will say that I have, with my therapist, gone in and out. Like I didn't see her for like 2 years. And then I went back to her. So I go in and out.
Totally. And to her credit, I do think that I have been provided enough tools to have a better understanding of my own reactions. Like I'm not confused. I don't feel like I have no understanding of my own reactions, or that I'm like flying off the handle and don't get it. Like I have done enough work with her that I've been given the tools to really understand a lot of my reactions. And I think there is more work to do, and it's a lifetime of work. But she's given me so much that I'm not leaving feeling like untethered.
That's
which,
good.
Again, is credit to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think so. Wow.
My therapist, I've been with, June, how long? Since we were 23?
Yep.
I'm 40. I'm going to be 40 this year. So long. And I've never known anything about her, like nothing. And I now know 2 pieces of information. One I got during this pandemic, which is so crazy. She's not the therapist that's like, well, in my life, here's what's going on. Like it's a Freudian analysis. There's nothing. But we've been together. God, it's going to make me cry. But when I had my second son, as we all know, I've changed his name many times. But at this point, he was Henry. And I called to tell her, I said, oh, I had a son and his name was Henry. And this woman has seen me through. I mean, good God. We had just stopped seeing each other and my mom died 2 weeks later. So then we were like back.
I didn't know
I've always done over the phone. Yeah. Cause we had just moved to LA. We've always done over the phone.
Right.
I love it. But point being, I called her and I said, I just had a son. And she said, what's his name? And I said, Henry, because it was August and she was off for the month. And she said, I'm just going to tell you one thing. She said, I have a son as well. And his name is also Henry.
Aww.
Wow.
I was like, ah!
And then you were like, my son's name is now Bear.
Yeah, I said, and I've changed
is her
it.
son's name also now Bear?
I did tell her I'm changing it a lot. And that's the thing about when you know about a therapist, especially when you're a people pleaser, because now I'm like reluctant to tell her I want to change the name, my God-given name I gave my son. And I announced it at a birthday party. So that's hard. But then during the pandemic, she told me, she just kind of frantically texted me because I had been telling her about all these meal delivery places in LA and all these different things. And she was like, someone close to me could use this information. I'm so sorry to ask. Do you mind to help me? And I gave her info. And then later she said, my daughter lives near you.
Wow.
That's a lot of information.
That's a lot of
more
information
than I ever got
in
almost 15 years.
Yeah.
I know.
Wow.
I know everything about my
And then
therapist.
we did a whole thing about how she told me, why she told me, but we both decided we are in a global pandemic. I was never been so happy to give help. I also said she can come, but then I crossed the boundary and I said, does your daughter need to come live with me? What's the problem?
That feels.
What did she say?
No, it was wild. It was like met with complete silence. I was like, I just want to call you back really quick and tell you I have a guest house. It doesn't have a bathroom. I was like, well, she can go in the house. I was like, I don't even have to talk about you, but if she needs a place to live, I am going to give you my address. And she can always come over here if there's an earthquake, I'm telling you, I told my husband and I like yelled at him. I'm like, if this girl needs anything, this woman has saved my life. We will help her.
No, I mean, the work that they do is it is life-saving. I mean, I also, with my therapist, Casey knows, but I went to her after my mom died for close to a year and a half without paying her.
Wow.
Because I didn't have any money. And she was just not willing to let me not come. And even after that, I was on a sliding scale with her for a very long time. And I was always just amazed at sort of the code of ethics that they work by and how committed good therapists are to their patients. So I am so indebted, and it is definitely the end for now of a chapter. But one thing I've thought of doing is just emailing her from time to time.
Yeah, that seems like a great idea.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing. I think she would like that
I do
because as
too.
much as it's not a one-way relationship, and I think it has been meaningful, and she said just that.
Yeah, I know. I mean,
And that's not me being like, they love us. It's just like, I can't get enough.
they love when we don't come and we're sitting there the whole session waiting for them.
Now they'd just love to hear from us not paying them.
Yeah, I mean, the straw that broke the camel was when it was about 2 weeks ago when I knew I couldn't make the session, and I emailed her frantically saying I'm not going to make it, and it was already like 10 minutes after. And she was like, okay, would you like another time? We really haven't spoken in a long time. And I was like, yes, this afternoon. And she was like, okay, I have a 4:00 time. And I was like, great, I'll take it. And then I didn't show up for that.
Yeah.
So,
Was there an email or?
no. Again, which I tried to explain to her. I was like, this is not how I conduct myself.
You don't. You do not.
It's almost like this is where you can do battle by yourself.
Thank you. It was like I was acting out something.
I was going to say, in a professional way, in a personal way,
you would never
never. It is not you.
No. And she very astutely said, like, I think you want me here as a presence. And you want to know I'm here. And you're going to know I'm here because you're paying for me to be here. And that's going to be enough. But you will not say goodbye to me. You just want to know I'm here. And again, pretty big thing.
You say, can you do sliding scale?
I did try to say to her, like, at one point I was like, listen, if I don't show up in the first half hour, I'm probably not coming. Like,
oh, so thanks for the tip. Hot tip.
Check your emails or do whatever you gotta do.
Oh, that's nice.
That's kind. A warning to her.
You can go to the bathroom.
She did say to me, like, I mean, I know your therapist said this to you, Casey.
Yeah,
like, when
this
you're not
is
there,
wild, Danielle. Get ready for this.
Yeah, when you're not there and you don't show up for your appointment, like, I sit there and I think about you.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And
None
that
of this
deeply touched me.
And I know that's true. I think.
Oh, that's definitely true.
I hate to bring up, I do believe our therapists come from the same lineage.
Absolutely. And
there is a code there.
Yes. And I do think, as someone who's lost both of her parents, like, honestly paying handsomely to have an adult figure.
No, I'm nodding.
Yeah, sit and think about me was something that I was absolutely willing to pay for and would have continued to pay for.
Oh,
I don't think you can put a price on that.
If you put it like
put a price on it.
If you put it like that, When you put it like
That's what you should
that,
have told her, June.
I did tell her that. We did get to that. But she was still unwilling to accept my money. She was like, that's not what therapy
She's
is.
like, that's not a service. It's not on my menu.
I would truly.
He was not comfortable with that.
I truly, truly, truly would pay someone good money to be my mother out here, like to where I live. Like I would.
Oh, I'm looking for one every which
way. In a grocery store, in a neighbor. It's like that book. Like, well, are you my mother? Like, that's how I fucking feel. Like I am looking in nooks and crannies.
Yeah, for anyone, and it's like it's fine if I have to pay you.
Oh, I'm happy.
You
to
know,
pay.
in many Asian cultures, this is a thing.
What do you mean?
You can rent a grandpa.
What?
This is a thing in certain cultures where Kulap was telling me about it. She read this whole article about it. You can rent a grandma. You can rent different figures to like show up at a wedding with you. And it's not like a sitcom-y plot thing. It seems like it, and it is, but it's also not.
Oh,
get more info and come back.
Because I would. I mean, hopefully on a sliding scale. Look, these times have called for different budgets, but I would.
I know.
That's not your budget.
Look,
in this economic recession.
I know people are disturbed that I was paying her full rate, which I won't even. I'm not going to say what it was, but trust me,
no one's asked.
It was a healthy amount of money.
It makes up for the time that you weren't paying her, though, if you think of it like that.
Yes, and we did go through a very difficult time where, like, as my career started to improve, and I had because I started off again at 0, and then slowly started working up that sliding scale. Like every time, very slowly. Every time I told her, like, "Oh my God, I got this job. I'm going to do this pilot. It's an NBC pilot." We would have to revisit the conversation about, like,
I remember you being like, ugh. You were like on a movie set, like, she wanted to pay.
Were you hesitant to tell her about new jobs?
Well, that's the thing. I said, I am willing to work with you on a sliding scale, and I agree we should get closer to your rate. But especially given the fact that I came here for so long without paying anything. But I'm uncomfortable sharing with you because I feel like every time I do, you're
ka-ching.
You see dollar signs. Yeah.
She got dollar signs in her eyes. Every failed pilot you do.
Yeah, but I'm like,
I know.
I'm not purely trying to share my successes with you.
She also probably takes it.
You see his dollars.
She also probably takes it harder when the pilot doesn't go. She knows.
That's right.
That's right. She knows we're staying at $75 an hour for a little bit longer.
Will you tell the story really quick, and then we are going to...
We will talk Housewives.
Get into Housewives. We will. If you're comfortable, June, with what happened when she changed her office around and didn't tell you.
Oh, God.
I still don't, and I love you. I'm going to say right now, I don't understand where you were coming from on this one.
Really, Casey? Really?
I couldn't understand.
Well, maybe
I
it's because, and I think the reason why you couldn't understand. I think the reason why you couldn't understand is because you have been talking to your therapist on the phone for a decade. For a long time, I was traveling from West Hollywood to Beverly Hills every single morning. I would get in my car at 7:20, and I would drive to Beverly Hills for an 8 a.m. appointment 5 days a week.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, and you weren't paying for this?
No.
You owe her every penny.
That is a great time spot.
No, it seemed like prime time. Well, first it started off as like I was just a regular patient, and then she asked me, "Do you want to do analysis? I think you could really use it." And I then started.
Said, "Do you have a bathtub in here?"
And you have to be in there a number of days a week.
That is the practice.
That is the practice of analysis. So once you commit to it,
you and I are the only people that do it still on Earth.
I know.
It does feel like a very 1980s, like lying down with a, bearded man type of deal.
So, well, this is where this comes in. So I had been lying in that office 5 times a week and not able to look at her. Now, you can't see them. So my eyes are falling on, her desk. All the little tiny figurines, the little Russian doll set, tiny little, this little like silver frog, this bookend, that bookend. I'm looking at all the books. I am staring at the paintings. I'm staring at the curtains. I'm staring at the basket of blankets. I'm using the blankets. I'm grabbing the tissue box. I am like, my eyes are falling on her space because I have nowhere else to look during incredibly like deep and excavating sessions. So that's what that space meant to me, that like I would just look around and I would also search for clues about her. No picture frames, but I saw her desk was pretty organized. Like it was all I could understand about the person I was talking to and not seeing was that space. Then one day, walking, I still haven't recovered from it.
June called me hysterically crying. It's the only time you've ever called and upset about something that I really couldn't like understand.
Just imagine this. So I walk in there and it was after like Christmas break or something like that. Like it was after a sanctioned time off by work.
Legally sanctioned.
I walk in and when I tell you everything was different, I mean everything.
No tiny silver frog?
Everything, all the tchotchkes that I had grown to know and love, these small, tiny little figurines that were, I'm trying to describe the desk, but it was like one of those fold down desks, but the top of it had all of these little, it was like a curio cabinet and had all of these little things in it. And it was so pleasing to my eyes. All of that's gone. And now we have, in an instant, and all
your friends are gone.
My friends, they're gone with no warning. And there's new wallpaper up.
And no time to even not go and see them and not say goodbye.
We're to sleep through and not look at them. The chaise lounge is now a like love seat with an ottoman. And it's facing a different direction. And it's facing toward the window. And her desk is now facing the other way. The tissue holder with the tissues in it has been substituted for a new one. The entire place looks different. And I was shattered. And I said to her, I'm really upset. I wouldn't even lay down on the seat. Like I just sat up and talked to her, but not facing her. It was very strange.
It's so passive aggressive.
And I remember not taking my purse off.
Like, I could leave. I could be out of here in a second.
Yeah. I'm ready to bolt at any time.
Get ready to not see me.
Here. So, and I said to her, like, I just can't believe you did this.
To me, you said.
To me. And she was like, you know, we talked about it. I said, this space is all I know about you. And to see it change so quickly and to see
everything
thrown away. I loved that space.
And you wanted a big heads up. And she asked you how much. And you said about a month. Understand. You said about a month would have helped you.
I said 1 month ahead of time. I would have appreciated.
I didn't think I needed to tell you.
I would have appreciated a heads up and saying like, we're going to prepare. And about a month from now, the space is going to change.
Now, last thing I will say with that is
you understand.
Okay. I did sort of connect because when my therapist finally moved her office, again, I've only talked to her over the phone. She's in New York City. I live in Los Angeles. She sent me a photo of the room the day they moved.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh, God, what I would give for a photo of that old room. Yeah.
Maybe she's got one.
Maybe. I mean, she did because, you know, she changed her name too.
She changed her name?
She changed her name, but she gave me a warning. And this was a big...
Was this after the room?
June was very upset that you changed her last name, Danielle.
Why?
This was a big to-do. And it was basically, if you can even imagine, I had just had Sam. Trump was elected.
June was not in the place to accept a
I was literally like...
change.
And then so imagine those three things happening. I'm postpartum. Trump has been elected our president and my dad just died. And then I get an email saying
the likes of which
saying in about a month I will now be going as this and no longer this. And I'm like, excuse me? And we talked about it.
so angry.
I was, and I was worried. And it's interesting because she kept on saying, like, why can't you conceive of it? I assumed she was getting a divorce. And she was like, why can't you conceive that it might be a positive change? And I was basically like, I just can't see it. And it was unfortunate because I essentially said to her, like, you're a woman of some years and you're going to be out there and you're going to be alone.
No,
I'm worried.
No, you did
I'm worried about you.
June, you did not.
I did. I told her I was worried about her, like her prospects.
You're like, you're changing your space willy-nilly.
What's you were like, you're a woman of a certain age, and there's dwindling.
It's bleak.
It's bleak
under any name.
Oh my gosh! To say that to your therapist.
The things. Oh my God, that really is.
Wow.
But whatever her name is.
Whatever her name is, we had an honest enough relationship that she could hold that. And yes, I did say that to her because she did ask me, like, what are you worried about? And I said, I'm scared of hurting your feelings. But if you want me to be honest,
that you'll never find love again.
You're going to be alone. You're just going to have me
here. Yeah.
Well, if there's anything we don't,
I don't feel good about this for you.
Or what if she's out tramping? What if she's out tramping around? She can't focus on you.
And then,
like Ramona Singer.
Yes, and Paul was like, maybe she's getting married. And I was like, and I told her that. I'm like, Paul thinks you might be getting married. I said, but I just don't see it.
But it doesn't seem like you.
I just don't see that for you.
It probably was for a bad reason, and yet she has to, as a therapist, be like, maybe it's good. It's like feeling even worse. Like, offer the opposite for you, knowing full well it's that she's getting back out there.
Oh, you see her on like
woman.
You see her on like Raya the next week.
Oh man.
Wow.
No, but again, it's not goodbye. It's just on pause for now.
Yeah. Maybe she said goodbye to you because she found a lover and doesn't have the time anymore.
Listen, I wish that for her.
Yes.
You know, she's an attractive woman. I told Casey she looks a lot like Marianne Williamson. She is an attractive woman.
Did you tell her that?
I did. I said you'd look a lot like Marianne Williamson. I just know that it's hard out there.
Sorry.
It just is.
That's facts, Jack.
Yeah.
Okay, June, before we take a break, and then we are going to dive full tilt into Beverly Hills, of course, and New York. But, you know, we have you here because also Danielle and I want to just talk a little bit more briefly because, first of all, I want to thank so many of our listeners have become Jane Club members.
Yes.
Which you co-founded. It is wild to be in the workshops and the seminars with fellow listeners, fellow garbage persons, just seeing them on Zooms during the day on like a parenting workshop. I saw 3 today.
It is
very fun.
We've said this to you both, but Bitch Sesh is truly like the house that built Jane. And there's your podcast, but then there's also this community of women who gather at the Jane Club, and they are your listeners. It's incredible. I would say the majority of our Janes are Bitch Sesh listeners.
Aw, I love that.
God bless. God bless.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I mean, I love it. I just did a workshop today, but I want you to tell everyone how they can join because it's so much more than a club. Like, tell people.
I feel like that's been like the hard thing to describe, and that's always a challenge because sometimes the way that I think about it is it's part my school, and I'm a perpetual student. I love a class and I love learning. It's part my school. There's amazing teach-ins and book clubs and just so many wonderful sources for like truly continuing education in the coolest, best like use of that word, and ways to enrich your understanding of the world. And that's really incredible. And then it's also like my spa where I get to meditate and take sound baths and breathing workshops and yoga classes. And then it's also like a gym where I get to work out. There's a Pilates class.
Yeah, I saw you out on the deck this morning.
And I was leading a class.
Always.
I mean, I was just sort of opening and closing it. Someone else was leading the Pilates class, but it's sort of functioning as multiple different spaces in my life right now. And so that's a big part of it, is all of these gatherings and community gatherings we host throughout the day, community connections where.
And this, I don't say to diminish it, but the best thing I ever loved about a cruise ship is like they give you this like dossier of like, or the day's activities, a schedule. It comes in every single morning, and I will jump on things willy nilly. And that's not really my personality. I'm scheduled to the fucking second. Mm-hmm. I'll be like, wait a minute, I'm seeing there's a big kids talent show, or I'm seeing there's an XYZ, and I get
yes, me too.
I will also say that, you know, before the pandemic, Jane was the place I strangely wrote the most. Like when I wasn't in a writing room, in my house, even when my child wasn't there, I just couldn't get kind of the work done that I was getting done at Jane. So like, it was just this place where I like to go and see other people. And I think it was because I had like, I could connect to other people and then go write. I didn't feel so alone in my writing. And so just the other day I was writing and I felt, again, I got lonely. I got like irritable. And so they had just one of those Jane sort of like meet, connect, talk to each other. And so I did that because I was just like, I just need to connect to people so that I can sit down and do my work again. Like it opens me up to work. And so I really,
especially during a global pandemic, you guys have pivoted it so beautifully.
Thank you. I am so proud of what we've been able to do since the shutdown, the big shutdown. And one of the great things about the community now is, again, thanks to Bitch Sesh, there are Janes in over 23 states. We're international now and have Janes signing in from everywhere. And because of that, because it's not just, oh, this is our physical flagship location in LA where people come to this place, because people are coming in from all over the place, I'm finding it's so incredible to just meet other people and hear different perspectives from people who live all across the country. And the community has become so much more interesting.
And then you'll have like, what I love too is there'll be things about issues. For instance, you guys just did tell about just the title of the one. It was kind of about, you know, people are trying to start these pods, but like, what's the equity behind doing that? And is that inclusive?
Yeah.
Just that topic. It was just a discussion about it with a moderator. And then we went into these breakout rooms and talked like 3 women. It's just, when are we doing these types of things?
Yeah.
And I've actually found I've like dove way more into community, even though I'm more isolated physically. It's it's counterintuitive.
I totally agree. And one of the big things that we work on is this idea of like community and collectivist learning, and that teach-in, for example, on the equity issue around pod schooling, and teach-ins on just like Asian American racism in the time of coronavirus, and having the opportunity to digest information, process it in smaller groups with other people, come back together into a bigger group, and like quite literally learn together is so much more, I think, impactful. And also it's quite lovely to just meet people who are not in our industry, who are coming for all sorts of different reasons. And, you know, what's cool about it too is some women come to every single activity, and we have some who come, you know, once a week. We have some who are incredibly active on internal community messaging platform, because we have conversations going on there throughout the day. And it's just, the community piece of it has been really, really quite something to see. It's been really quite something to see. So I would encourage any Bitch Sesh listeners who have been wondering about it to come try a month. You can use our code.
And Kamala spoke at Jane Club.
Right.
This was the huge news of the week.
I know. Happy Kamala week. It's a big week.
It is a big week.
Yeah.
Happy Kamala week.
So yes, and she was absolutely wonderful. And the photos we have of her there, I've just been staring at like nonstop, like a real creeper.
And if you have put like activist leanings and you want to do things, but we are all challenged for time and people do want to do things. I find it, as you call it, very frictionless experience of you set up in short bursts in the right way. It's like, here's an hour. If you log on Zoom, there's like 15 other women who are also going to be making calls on behalf of the Democratic Party, or, You know,
Yes.
it's very
yeah,
easy to get involved, but not have to take on some crushing kind of amount that you just feel like you can't do anything. It's like, oh, if I just log on at 4.
They set it up for me. I logged on. I made probably about 30 phone calls, and then I went and made dinner for my daughter. Like,
But it's also fun because you're not doing it alone. Like you're like waving to everyone
together. Yeah. And messaging in the chat. Like I just got a live one on this call is so invigorating, and it commits people. And we get to say in the beginning why we're there and why we want to do it. And we get to close out with like any feedback or takeaways, and doing it in community. Yeah. Could you sign up to a phone bank and volunteer on your own? Absolutely. But is it more honestly invigorating and energizing and activating to do it with people? Yeah. And I think it commits us to each other and to the work in a bigger way. We host 3 phone banks a week at 4:00, one for Reclaim Our Vote, one we're just working with a LA City Council candidate, and the one on Friday we do for Swing Left. And it's really wonderful. So for all of those reasons, activism, wellness, education, fun, just plain fun. Cocktail hour, silly game nights.
Stuff for the
like
kids.
that.
My daughter did a talent show. There was a magic show done by one Paul Scheer.
Yeah. I just, all 3 of us, I think have always been people who love pulling people together. And it is sort of
there's no greater joy.
There's no greater joy. There's no,
why are we on earth if not to all be together?
Yes.
And it is literally what we are not able to do right now is gather.
Yes.
And I think you guys have literally created that.
Yeah, I think so too. And the people who are in it, and the Janes have really created it themselves too, because we also give our Janes many opportunities to lead. So we have Janes who have been with us start to lead their own workshops, and that's been really cool to see that everyone gets a chance to lead a community connection and try on leadership. So yeah, I love it. I encourage everyone to check it out. Our website is janeclub.com, and you can get $10 off your first month with the special code Insider Jane FF.
Love it.
Insider Jane
FF.
So look, I mean, this is more than a plug. It's really like a call to arms for our listeners, only because I really think everyone that listens to this podcast.
And if
it's already, a lot of them are already.
I know, but if you're looking for a community, in these times where you don't feel like you have one, it's a resource.
Even if you do have one, I've got one and I like it.
I've got too many and I like it too. And you don't have to be a parent. You don't have to be a woman. We have all genders represented. It's a really, it's a wonderful space that is always striving to do better and be better. And I'm really proud of it. And I think it's a great experience. And please come check it out.
Check it out. All right, let's take a break and get back with Housewives. Okay, we are back. Let's start with New York. Then we're going to get into Beverly Hills, and we've already covered the episode that came out of Potomac this week.
Yes, we did.
So we're gonna do these 2 and close out the night, and everyone can call their therapist. Okay, New York. Now, I just want to open this by telling you that I took an Ambien last night, June, after I left you.
Okay.
I took half an Ambien. I was lying in the bed, and I emailed Andrew Cohen and you, Danielle.
that this morning.
A frantic, very frantic email in which I saw something on Daily Mail, and this was the headline. Real Housewives of New York cast on the chopping block. Bravo is planning to shake things up for season 13. And I just wrote him and said, what's this? What's happening?
You said you're scaring me.
I said, you're scaring me. I said, be careful.
Good.
I said, what we want, obviously, we want our new cast members. I would love diversity, but I just don't know the whole cast being on the chopping block. That just made me very nervous.
Did you get anything?
He wrote back.
Okay.
He did write back.
He didn't CC me on the right back.
I think he just CC'd me.
Sorry.
As is some.
Because I was like, he didn't write back. But like, oh, he did.
He's not older, as is certain people's wants. I think
he's not a man.
My father-in-law does it.
Yeah.
No, he's not. But my father-in-law does it a lot. Like, we'll email the whole family question. He'll just write me back.
Yes.
To say nothing personal. But basically he calmed me down a lot and he just said, they're making their decisions. Like he couldn't let me in on anything, and I said, of course I'll support what they do. Mm-hmm. But, he said they always have to have an eye toward tomorrow, and they do want to bring in new people. But, no one was mentioned that they're leaving, but it's just like, I like what I'm seeing.
It has been,
so it was just hard to see that last night on Ambien.
Yeah. Know what was truth and what was Ambien. I'm disappointed to hear that because I do feel like we've hit our stride.
Thank you.
We've hit our stride.
But
we're at a home run with Leah.
You said, Casey, last week, it is like Leah is hanging around with her elderly aunts. And
but that's what I want to see.
It might be nice.
It is a female weekend at Bernie's. I love it.
I love it. Talking about Imodium, and this one's shitting up that bathroom, and that one's shitting up that bathroom.
Guys, when they went in Dorinda's room, I have when Lou was like, "Whoa, I can smell it."
When Lou's like,
our room always smells like this. I don't know something different.
And then
when Lou goes, let me get the Chanel body spray, clear the runway.
Okay. There has never been such a perfect image of them spraying Chanel body spray over shit smell. To me, that is what's happening on this show. Is
that is them.
That is them. These really shitty people, covered in Chanel. And it was so, perfect. And then we have Leah and our eyes and ears. I will say Leah I didn't know her last name was McSweeney. I learned that today by searching on Instagram. And that put me in a weird place.
Why so?
How so?
I wanted more for her.
Than McSweeney.
Oh, I thought you were upset maybe by your shared Irish roots.
I am. It feels so basic and it felt so, I wanted.
What did you want? Like a Goldblum or a?
Like D'Agostino?
I think I probably wanted an Italian last name with her accent as thick as it is and sort of her persona. I just didn't want McSweeney. But you know what Leah's done for me is she has really activated my consumerist instincts during this pandemic. I have been sitting around. I know I just did a spray tan, but I've really been letting things go. And I've just been in sweatpants and just really gross and staring at Leah's nails, staring at her hoops, staring at her sweats. I'm interested and I want those things for myself.
I tried to.
This motherfucker's doing a testimonial in a sweatshirt, but making it look pulled together.
But then we saw that testimonial in that pink blazer. That was a new, fresh look this week,
And she's so incredible because she's when she's a completely bare face, I think she's gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
And I think actually more gorgeous than she is with a lot of makeup on. But I just want to be with her nails and be with her things. And
I want to be with her and Kiki, her daughter.
Me too. And her and her sister. And her and Bunny. I'm just so interested in all of it.
Also her hair. I can't look away from that gorgeous mane. I wish I had, I tried to do my hair like her the other day, all pulled back in a sad little pony that just made me angry. It was.
I looked into getting extensions after watching an episode. I did. I'll read you the text message I got from my hair person on Grace and Frankie because he served me pretty good. I didn't even reach out to say hey, are you okay? Are your family and children okay?
That's a typical normal opener when you haven't talked to someone in a while.
I just wrote, and he also was just nominated for an Emmy. I said nothing about that for our show. Nothing. I just wrote
for your hair.
For my hair. I just wrote, I feel like I need some bomb-ass hair extensions to pull me out of a depressive pandemic funk. Any suggestions?
And what was his response?
And he said, it's too much work, extensions. Keep your color fresh and you'll feel good. Or maybe darker for a change. The extension thing just trashes your hair for no reason. Besides that, oh my God, how are you?
Now keep your hair fresh. Has he been seeing it?
Then we get into, he also works with another actress whose name I will not say, but one we all know and love. And said that she just took hers out 3 months ago because she's giving it a rest. So
I'm always
you delivered that as though that was going to be so meaningful.
So I just told him, I said, I'm just feeling really down. Yeah. This was after seeing Leah's hair, by the way. Like I just wanted those extensions. And I'm depressed, I think, and my roots are really bad. He goes, insane bad? Well, I get tested every 3 days. I guess I can come to you. How are you?
He's asked you.
I think he just wanted
every 3 days.
He's working.
Oh,
so
wow.
He's already shooting on a show. And so,
Wow.
Anyway.
Leah's bringing everything. I love
but I want a young,
so much.
I want some more, and I don't want super young. I'm not saying, like, I still want, like, an older woman, but I would like a compatriot for her.
I don't know, though,
no?
Because I do feel like Tinsley fell so Leah could rise.
Wow.
Like, we are now able to see the hilarious dynamic of her just like doing full takes to camera, like just like
roaming around for Imodium.
Yeah, like watching these 60 plus women like flirt with these men, all of it. Although I do have to say, not Ramona, Luann truly is a legend.
Oh, her game.
A legend.
I mean,
that was masterful.
She has game. Ramona has no game. Ramona's offensive in her flirtation. It's so aggressive and it's so creepy and it's those leading with those rock hard titties and just. But Lou's
had a great season.
Game.
Ooh,
she knows how to get in. There's no.
And did you see the way those like trainers lit up at Lou?
Yes, of course.
And she was
because Dorinda was trying to teach them aerobics or whatever the fuck she's trying to make happen. That's not a real thing.
And I love how Lou was fast asleep 5 seconds earlier. She heard hot men were out there. She was out looking fresh as a daisy in a hot like workout outfit. She is not going to miss one opportunity.
And I took a tip from Lou, and Lou's like, if you feel like shit, that's when you got to get moving. Like that's when you're up and you're at it. I was like, right, Lou.
She has risen like a phoenix in the last few episodes.
Truly. And I also feel like, unlike Ramona, like Lou's going to put out her game, but she's also going to pull back when it's time to pull back. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like the way she talked to those men on the beach, I was just really floored by how seamless that was. Talk about a frictionless experience. Yeah. Just like, you want to see it? It's beautiful. And they walked right up. Right up. I do remember, I think I may have talked about this on this podcast before, but I remember when Simon of Alex and Simon.
Oh, yeah. You did talk about that.
Was asked who he would sleep with out of all of them. And he chose Lou.
With good reason.
And I do think when Lou focuses her energy on men, it's a very powerful thing.
Wow.
I also thought it was powerful back in the shit scene when Sonia and Ramona are standing around as though they're nonplussed. Like, they're not even bothered by this with Dorinda. No one's bothered until Leah comes in. And then, oh my God, when Sonia's like, what? Just wear diapers. And then Sonia goes, I wore them. We cut to a shot of Sonia from the back in jeans with the diaper sticking out. And then, then Ramona goes, well, you had to. We were exploding in Cartagena. Their butts were exploding.
Also, when at first, though, Dorinda was like, I shit the floor. And then Ramona's like, ugh. And then Sonia goes, you shit all over the floor in Cartagena. and Ramona goes, that's true.
That is true.
It was just so wildly talking about shitting their pants.
It's so wonderful. And I do think like we wouldn't be able to watch them with as much joy as we can without Leah. And the problem with Tinsley is like, Tinsley was just as grotesque as them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
And Tinsley was uptight. And so that...
She had nervous
I'm loving
energy.
watching Leah and Ramona bounce off. I mean, Ramona just cannot handle it. But I am having fun with it.
But then in another turn, there was Leah's at the table on her computer by herself, minding her business, doing work.
That was hilarious.
They check her like she's a
And then Sonia comes and it's like, I got these invitations. I got the invitations. I have the invitations. So then all the other ladies sit down and they're like, why are you doing work? This is so rude. Sonya's like, I got my invitations. And then Dorinda explodes and she's like, I got things to do. I have things to do too. And then Lou's like, I got a script to write. Like it was
Lou's like, I have a script to learn. That's like all Lou's ever.
None of them have anything. Leah had one thing.
Nothing.
Leah was just like checking the emails for her business. And then they all panicked because no one can look like they have more than the other one. And they all started flying off the handle. It was shocking.
I mean, I felt that scene very deeply because like I do, if I see other people working, I will start to feel a little anxious. So I did understand. I understood where everybody.
Yeah, like when I'm trying to enjoy my time in a pool and I see you get in a hot tub with your computer.
Sure.
It's hard to know when do we turn it off.
Yeah. I know when you're on vacation, it's hard to relax when you see that. But it is the other crazy thing though with Sonia is why doesn't she have a computer? She was typing on that iPad.
I know.
For hours.
I think that
especially to do an invitation.
Every computer that she's ever had has broken, has covered with dog urine.
When Sonia sits down to do her work, and we've now seen it twice this season, where she like pulls off to the side and pulls out like all these gadgets, and she can never find her glasses, and that's when Sonia, to me, and I don't mean this in a bad way, it shows her age in a negative way. Like to me, she's timeless, she's ageless. But in just that one sector, I'm like, oh right, she's me, like trying to figure out her. So cute.
I'm gonna say something unkind.
Oh God.
Oh God. Okay.
I'm laughing because I'm completely uncomfortable. Great.
And we may want to cut this out.
Okay.
I think up until this season, Sonia was timeless and ageless. And
you think the drinking?
And I don't know if it's the short hair, and I know I've been an advocate of older girls cutting their hair, but
you said that's what they must do.
I know, and I'm starting to take. I kind of want to take that back. There's something about Sonia this year where it was always fun and it was always flirty and silly, but there's something that's turned a bit for me this year.
Well, there is a sadness and a out of controlness and a drunkenness that isn't.
And there always has been.
But it does feel darker this year, I think. But maybe I say that I can't even know because it just feels lonely. It's
funny. I was reading this article, like some therapist wrote a whole thing about like her take on them that our friend Nicole Shabtai sent us. And the therapist was like, she said what we've all said, like, it's so sad. Sonia's like caught in another time with her old husband. They were married. Let me guess, quiz you two. Based on Sonia's behavior, how long do you think she and Mr. Morgan were married?
I mean, at least 20 years.
10 to 15.
6.
No.
6. When I read 6, I started feeling where you were, June, because I'm like, this is a 25. I honestly thought it was like a 30, 25 year marriage that like, when I saw 6, I was like, ooh, what have I been watching? 98 to 2004.
98 to 2004?
I thought we were in Reagan era 80s on the yacht. I thought we were like...
I thought we were past 2 terms of a presidency.
Me too. And a Republican
it started
president.
in the Reagan era and ended in like Obama.
It started at Watergate. It's like...
This is a bombshell, Casey.
That was a bummer when I read that. I was shocked.
I am really dysregulated right now.
Nothing can ever turn me away from Sonia. I love her so much and I feel for her.
Oh, Casey, don't get me wrong. Don't misunderstand me. I do too. I just feel what I'm worried about is I want her to have a graceful winter of her life.
That's nice. Sorry, I misunderstood you.
Is this the same concern you had for your therapist that you
have for Sonia?
I just want her to know, like, we're still going to love her.
I will say that since we saw her in Palm Springs, Casey and I saw her on our Watch What Happens Live in Palm Springs. And since she's gotten back, she has a fresher energy. I think she cleaned out a little bit,
She said I went way too hard.
And
she was brighter, fresher. She stopped drinking.
I've seen pictures of her. I've seen I think this.
And she got a lower face.
Yes,
lift.
which looks
lower face facelift.
Lower
half her face. Lower face
Okay.
facelift.
it's hard to.
That's right.
But she does
Lower
seem. I think she seems that she.
Which I want to get.
She looks fantastic.
Yeah.
But she's.
You're right. That shorter hair isn't my favorite on her.
Yeah.
To me, she's a woman of the 80s with like a sexy long blonde
You know what I
hair.
think I wish? I wish if we had the short hair that we were, because I love a bob. I'm always in a bob. I wish it was straight and sort of sleek. And she keeps on doing this like curly, beachy wave, like mess.
But she is still of the 80s, so she doesn't
know.
know how to not do big hair. Like that's her thing. So that's why maybe she needs the longer hair because that's.
Listen.
Now,
I know.
what do you think of Dorinda this year? Mean as a snake. Mean as a motherfucking snake. She's scary, man. And I love Dorinda. And again, I identify more with Dorinda than any other housewife.
I think I do too. I see so much of like my mom and her friends in Dorinda. Like there's just something I never saw that anger. So I don't mean to paint my mom that way. There's just something about Dorinda that feels so familiar to me and comforting. I love her. You know, Dorinda needs medication.
Yeah.
That's all.
But she has taken it to a new level this year in terms of, I mean, I've never said this before, but Ramona is right that she used to kind of like, we'd see flashes of that anger, but it felt.
Yes. Ramona's right on this one.
But this is like, it turns.
She needs a mood stabilizer.
She does.
And when she turned and was like, oh, thank you for your concern. Thanks for your concern,
So
everyone. Were you
mean.
getting nervous, Ramona? I was like, she's fucking scary.
And by the way, what's her daughter's name? Hannah?
That was such a lame
Oh,
call.
wow, yeah.
Hannah was like, Mommy, they're letting me do a card catalog, Mommy.
What was she cataloging?
A library.
It was something she was supposed to do for free that I guess now they're throwing some money at her to do. It seemed very sad. And yeah, I mean, Dorinda's deeply unhappy, you know.
But why?
Well, in this article, and I hate to go back to it, this therapist said, and, you know, we were making fun of the article, Danielle, but she did say, like, I do think Dorinda had this very elegant life that she cannot have access to once that Richard died, and the amount of anger of the unfairness of that is consumed her.
Do you think she has been in therapy? It doesn't.
Well, we saw her with that.
That
med
was
spa
not a
doctor, but I
therapist.
don't
That was a
think that's-
chiropractor
no.
at best. He was.
No, because Dorinda doesn't want to see that anything is because of herself. She refuses to see that.
I'm going to say something. I think this is Dorinda. I think this was Dorinda with Richard. I think this is Dorinda.
Do you think she treated Richard this way?
Maybe.
Interesting.
Yeah. I
You
think
know.
despite all the talk we've done about therapy, people don't really change.
Yeah, I just think that she's unhappy.
very angry.
Yeah, she's very angry, and
And yet sometimes she's very light. It's interesting.
I know. There's something about her where I'm like, I think she should have stayed in the Berkshires.
Yeah. I think she's happy as
You
there.
know?
She's happy
Like Melinda,
there.
her
Why
sister.
doesn't she stay there?
I don't know.
It's such a big.
Getting out is not all it's cracked up to be.
The thing that I appreciate and always will about Dorinda is her willingness to show herself on the show. Like the way she sort of comes as she is in different outfits and attire. There's something about her that I find so refreshing, and just that she shows up as she is, where they all seem to be so, there's so much put on, there's so much costume, and she does it for the testimonials, but on the actual show, it just seems like we're getting Dorinda.
Well, I would say even just New York, and because New York and Beverly Hills are both on vacation right now.
The difference is
the
stunning.
difference, because I will say,
Wow. Yeah.
but I will also say that New York, they all sort of look like themselves when they wake up in the morning, right? Like they're all just kind of like, this is who they are. And there's not much of a difference in the looks between bearskin. But when you see like a Lisa Rinna in the morning, it's a shock because they're all so made. Sorry, but they're all
No, but I'm
so
gonna say
made
something,
up
though.
right now that
I know, but I don't really see a big difference between like the snake that I think Lisa Rinna is and the snake that I think Dorinda is. And if anything, like I
Agree.
prefer Dorinda.
agree.
Dorinda is at least genuine.
Yeah, Dorinda doesn't pretend to be anything.
As mean as she has been, and I think she is mean as a snake. She's been genuine. Rinna, I was watching her today. I'm like, she's so fucking full of shit. We always say she's always acting. She's just, I don't believe it. I think she wants a job.
And I also don't
buy anything, even her friendships, not one word out of her mouth do I buy.
And I also think these women are who they are. They're not, it doesn't seem to me that they're playing for camera or that they're.
Well, and it's hard for me to believe, like, Rinna's whole thing, and it seems like she's just a giant mask of, like, you're on this show, be honest. But then, like, she's not willing to be honest at all on how, like, her raging eating disorder, which, again, I don't blame Rinna for. Like, she's a product of a culture that hates women and wants us to be tiny. But, like, her eating disorder has an effect on her children. Like, of course it has.
Well, that was crazy when Garcelle called that out.
But I mean, like, how could it not? And for a woman who keeps on urging everybody to be honest, the fact that she's masking the biggest truth that we are all staring at on this show, which is that she has a raging eating disorder, and both of her children seem to as well. And she can't put any. I'm not saying it's entirely her fault. Many people have eating disorders that have nothing to do with their parents, of course.
Do you guys think that
something has gone on?
And I guess we're in Beverly Hills, which is fine, but no, that was me. I introduced it.
Please, guys, let's
not fight over this.
A segment on a real show.
This isn't real. There's
Quite
no.
all right. We can jump around.
Did the cards get mixed up over there?
We make cut to commercial. Everything's upside down.
We'll just blend them
But I will say it was a shock when Garcelle said, "Okay, well, if we're all going to be honest, do you think that the way that you dance around and in your underwear and all this stuff affects your daughters?"
On your Instagram.
And people were shocked by that. Like, what does that have to do with this moment, like, of honesty? But I think what Garcelle was trying to do, I personally think what Garcelle was trying to do was to say, it's humiliating what you've just done to Denise and how you've yelled at her and been like, stay on the shore, get the fuck out of here, which was a crazy moment. And not Lisa's to make a determination for her. She's not a fucking producer. She doesn't run this show.
No, Chris is the producer.
Jenner?
No, that guy
that came. I was like, Kris Jenner?
I thought Kris Jenner. I was like, I'm sure Chris is.
But I think what Garcelle,
the voice box.
I think what Garcelle was trying to say is, does this feel good? No, it doesn't feel good. So,
because Lisa, that's the problem with Lisa. She was trying to get Denise to come clean because she knew she is smart enough to know, like, we got to have this, as was Chris, the producer, chasing her. Like, everybody knew we were going to be fucking pissed at this moment that we're in Rome and we're not hearing from her. And then Lisa did it, but she can never be in it and be genuine. So she's trying to direct things. Then she has this whole crying scene thinking that'll help her, but that was so fucking fake.
I want to go to church.
So strange.
I'm
so
not
fake.
buying it, sweetie.
No. I'm not buying she and Denise are even friends for 1 second.
No.
And I think Denise is, I'm going to say something. She's very dim.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I know we want to think otherwise, and I did.
I don't think I've thought, I really haven't thought about that with her. I think she comes as she is.
I think a lot about what we liked about her was like, maybe not.
Yeah, I get that.
Now I'm like, oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Listen, I think
I was bouncing off that fact pretty hard, but now I'm back and I'm comfortable with my initial assessment.
I do think that her and
Aaron
are. It's sometimes seeing two dim people together is a very especially two dim, good-looking people together it's a terrifying combination. Yeah, and I do think the two of them,
especially one of them treating cancer patients,
exactly, because they work themselves up into like a dumb tizzy.
I agree. And I do think when you are beautiful, because they're both, especially Denise, stunning.
Yeah. Aaron's put on a few.
I think Aaron is gross.
I think he's gross.
I think he's gross too.
But I think in the good looking, like, dictionary, he would be someone that they would put in there.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
DICK. I think And I think Denise is a terrific mother, and I think really nice and
a good I think she's a good person.
Yes, totally. And I don't care if she slept with Brandy. That's great. And I think they did. But I don't appreciate Denise not letting us in on the truth. And I do think Kyle and them come off looking really bad. Kyle just came off looking terribly.
Teddy.
But I am kind of like, Denise, you do owe this to us. And Teddy has put out a video this week today.
No.
It's dark.
What is it?
It's dark. She's saying that people are giving her family death threats and her kids because, honestly, I don't say this to be funny, but like they just don't like her on the show. They just think she's like boring.
Well, who's doing that?
Well, they just really hate the way she acted tonight and like who she is. I've just never seen someone so unassuming be the object of so many people's ire. And I'm one of those people.
I think because
it's funny. She's just she's like, nails on a
blackboard. My friend Kate Grossman had a crew of girls in college and they used to call one of them there. And she was just like there. And for years, they just referred to her as there. And that's kind of how, I mean, it's terrible. That's horrible. But that's kind of what's happened to Teddy. It's just like, she is really just there.
But then when there tries to pipe in and be a part of things, that's
she also is always coming from a place of authority. And she's not an authority.
And a victim, though. It's both.
And so.
And she's just boring. And I don't know. I've never seen a video like that and not felt great compassion.
I know. I mean, does anyone think she got pregnant to sort of like spice up her storyline? Cut this part.
It's people do not like her. It's hard.
Well, I don't like that moment where they were all giving a toast with Denise and she was like, "Oh, I don't have anything to toast with." It's like, sweetie, just pick up something and
fucking fork and toast with it.
Just throw your hand in there.
Dumb.
My least favorite personality type. I don't have anything. That line just like
it was
tweaked to my brain. I think it's tweaking everyone right. She's not a great color in this
and I also think that her like when she was like, can we all just like kiss and make up basically? And Teddy's like, I mean, I don't know, I can be fine with you, I can be friendly, but I don't trust you. And it's like, fuck off. Like nobody wants
to be fine or friendly.
Just that like, I'll see, I'll deem when it's okay. It's like, no, this is Denise fucking Richards. She's done nothing wrong to you.
Absolutely. And the problem with the show with Beverly Hills now is like, especially since Garcelle came on, and it's so very clear that there's so many white women in this cast who are like replicants of each other. Like there's no reason we need Teddy. Seeing what Garcelle is able to bring just in who she is so exciting. And then we cut to Teddy, like literally she's a waste of space. And then it's like we have Erica, okay, but then also Dorit, like we don't need both of them.
I need Dorit.
Like
I don't need Erica.
Yes, Garcelle has really, really shown us just how much we need to shake up this cast. And Lisa Rinna has to fucking go.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm ready to fucking cut ties with all of these women.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, I watch it and I have a bad feeling when I watch Beverly Hills. It's an anger that I'm not getting to the bottom of this story you promised me. This is the second season this has happened. Vanderpump and Denise.
Kyla's not our alpha. She just isn't up to the task. It's not a...
Right, she's not taking the reins.
No, she is. I think she's trying to, but it's just not...
Yeah, but she's failing.
It's not a good color on her. Like we're all a little adrift this season.
Yeah, they keep driving us to this big thing, and then we're now here twice, and we've got nothing, and I am annoyed.
I know. It's like
I might have to fire off another email tonight when I get on that Ambien soon.
No, and I want to go other places. Like, take me to Erica's Thanksgiving that Tom's daughter hosts. Like, I'd like to see what that is.
I'd love to go there. I can't fucking see my own family at Thanksgiving. I'd love to see Tom's daughter.
And it's like, I'm in Rome and I'm not interested. And
I can't see them go on one more Vespa ride or laugh at each other because they have to put a goddamn helmet on their heads. Like,
it's just, Sutton. Oh, it's all just
Sutton is not good. Like, there's
I think that's why I got scared seeing like New York is being shaken up. It's like,
we have bigger problems.
Yeah.
We got bigger fish to fry across this franchise.
I say keep Garcelle, keep Dorit. Keep
over Erica?
Yeah. Because Erica's giving us looks and nothing else.
Erica just,
you're right.
I think we've gotten what we're going to get out of her. As much as I love her, it's much like your therapist. It's like, that was a great time we had.
She's not, because she's not willing to open
Exactly.
up.
And Dorit, we are getting more flavors. We are getting more sensations. We are getting more
languages.
Yes.
That's right.
But I feel like we're getting somewhere with Dorit. Whereas Erica,
I feel bad I said Denise isn't bright. She is, and I'm sure she knows so much more than I do about other things. There's just something, I don't know, struck me today.
I think there's a simpleness to her that I've always
admired as well.
Yes. Listen, in some ways I'm envious of. Like, it seems like she is content with her life. But I do think like Kyle is also played out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so played out.
Kyle's parties are played out.
Yes.
Kyle's splits are played out.
Yeah. Kyle's husband is played out. And I know you're going to try to come back at me.
No, I think he's been played out for a long time.
I've seen it.
We've seen it.
We've seen her.
Kids.
We've seen the dogs.
I do not want to see that youngest daughter again.
I will say what makes
shot. I don't want to see her again.
Careful.
Now I got to watch like her other daughter, like as a real estate agent, selling an apartment to Rinna's daughter.
That scene was detestable. But I will say the most interesting thing about Kyle is her dynamic with her sisters.
Yeah.
And when we don't have that, we don't have anything.
Why is Kyle publicly aligning herself with Brandy?
That is so shocking. I think yes.
Yeah, like she's
like Brandy doesn't lie.
Brandy. She's like, Brandy's a whore and a bitch, but she's not a liar.
But she has called her a liar before. So it's not. It's like you're.
Can someone remind me what happened between Brandy and Joanna Kropka?
Yeah. Are you serious?
I believe
I don't
so
know.
Dark.
There's a lot of
I'll tell you
air things that happen that I never get to. So I really only have knowledge of like what happens within
that
the
one's
42 minutes.
Real
what
tough
happened?
One. I'll let you Google that one. I don't think we can.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's just.
There was a comment made about the
All right.
smell of one's nethers.
Okay. I got to adjust my towel. Give me a second.
Did it drop when you heard that news?
Is that what I'm smelling? Oh my God. I mean, I don't know that there's that much more. It's just like, I want more out of Beverly Hills.
Oh, there was one thing in New York we forgot to get to.
Yeah.
One thing real quick was that they all were talking on that bus on the way to the rappelling down the cave, where they were saying that they had all dated this one American Idol. Does everyone remember?
Judge?
I was like,
was it a judge? No, I don't know.
I'm like, what American Idol? Because all the idols are like 25, right?
Ramona was like, been there, done that. And then Sonia's like, not me.
And they're like, Tinsley dated him. And Lou was like, oh, I went out with him once. I'm like, who was this? Not that I know all the idols that have ever come to pass, but I was just curious if anybody knows.
Was it Groban? I love him.
Josh Groban. Josh Groban was an American Idol?
Him.
I don't know. I just made
I don't think Josh Groban was
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. He's a real singer. Was he?
I feel like he was on like Canadian Idol.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not sure. But anyway, that was just a mystery that I was like, do you guys know? Oh, and then also when when Back to Beverly Hills, when Dorit says, guys, I have big news. The room is ready at Buca di Beppo. Like they just threw a few fake lemons in a basket and called it a day.
And called it a day.
You're right though about Dorit. Like some of the best parts of Dorit's season are surrounding like the house of cards that is her finances and her husband, and just like really watching those testimonials between the two of them was haunting.
Yes.
You know,
I want more. I feel like she's made PK pull back, and it's like, but that's what I don't want.
I know.
Do you guys think
that's what I don't want?
That Denise was tipsy during her testimonials this week?
Yes.
She's
like, it's my turn to talk.
She was just a little like, she was like slumped in her chair. Like it was a weird angle.
Yeah.
Her hair was
it was a more simple.
It was just,
testimonial.
she just looked a little like kind of like relaxed,
Yes.
I would say.
And in Ramona's testimonials, I like doing the cities together. It's just like, whatever. In Ramona's testimonial, it's such a cavernous echo.
Oh my God.
And it's,
Luann is screaming.
yes, Luann is screaming. The best testimonial Luann gave us when she was proud that she was happy that Dorinda didn't go out because her stomach was hurting that night. And she was like, says completely genuinely, who would have known diarrhea would cause us to have a great night? It's like, oh my God. You know I hate this topic.
You do hate the topic of diarrhea, and yet it's never not funny. It's never.
I was scream laughing.
And you're drawn to it too, Casey, as much as you hate it. I think you may be protecting yourself from just how much you want to talk about it.
That's right. That's right.
When Leah said, oh my God, there's a baby turd in there, I was like, this is Weekend at Bernie's. This is so funny. I mean, it's like
just funny.
It is literally like watching a movie where like Leah moves in with the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And just like watching that play out.
And that is
so
the woman I like. And I really like that guys are kind of getting in the mix now. I just like it all.
Too. I like it all. It's so intergenerational. And I also love like Leah has a mom, Bunny, who said she doesn't like
that.
Her.
Is a shock.
I know.
Bunny didn't get a great edit for next week. They introduced Bunny just like a mouthful of food. She was like, Leah, I don't like you.
Oh, she says it.
Like, some days I don't.
Yeah, with like a mouthful of food.
Oh, Bunny. I'd like to see a lot of scenes with her and Bunny.
I know.
The mother-daughter
like
relationships
Leah
on this show, and not the younger daughters. Like, I don't need to see these women's daughters. I mean, the
don't ever want to see Avery again.
No, I don't need to see anybody again.
I fucking hate Avery Singer. Hate her. Maybe you have to cut this out. I'm fine with that.
No.
I hate that entitled bitch.
I've heard she has.
And honestly, I hate Dorit's daughter too. What's her name again? Hannah?
No, you mean Dorinda's.
Oh my God,
not Dorit.
Dorinda's. I thought you meant Dorit's. I was like, she's pretty young.
Like 3. It's like, what? What has she done?
Dorinda's daughter's name again? I just don't. Avery. I feel like Ramona. What's weird that's happening? There's some sort of transference that's going on between like Ramona and Leah and Avery, where like
and Bunny,
where like Leah wants Ramona's love and wants Ramona to like her because Bunny is so disapproving, and like, but Ramona knows that and so is more disapproving. And then like Ramona has Avery, who she holds up as this perfect doll, like this perfect version of herself. And I just want to say, like, whatever private schools you spent money on shaped Avery. I still don't like her, by the way, but she's more like acceptable than you are in the world, Ramona. But if she is, it's not because of you. And we don't know that. You're right. But you're right. We do not know that. But then it's like Ramona staring at Leah and being so angry. So angry.
Because she's also so jealous of, and it was said on the show, so of her youth and her body and her sexuality, that's what's offensive to her.
And her like wild personality.
Yeah, but that's what's offensive to Ramona, not what she's people saying, like about Leah. But what she has in Ramona's mind that she doesn't. And it is so upsetting to watch.
It's tough. I mean, these women, it really is a cautionary tale about like aging. And I hope that when we get to that age, we are not like flailing about, that we are able to like enjoy our bodies and appreciate other bodies. And because the way that these women are going down, you know, and I don't blame them in many ways, because like they feel like they're losing it all.
Well, I think they were also raised at a time and sexualized at a time when that was taught to them.
They're losing their currency.
Yes. And so, and they're not going to, in their minds, like, you know, go softly into the night. They're going to rage against the dying of the light.
It's true. But
It did sort of make me laugh. There was one flash of a nice moment between Leah and Ramona when Ramona was in bed talking to Dorinda about Leah. And she goes, she's like a colt, like a wild stallion. Because I was like, there is something about Leah.
There's
Ramona
an electricity
likes.
to her.
Mhm.
Yes, there's something there.
Mhm.
Yeah, she is. She has an energy to her that's thrilling. To
Well, we're
watch.
all
She's a star.
all attracted
We're all
to
activated by her.
We're
Yeah.
all interested in it.
And I mean, I have to say, like, I used to think Bethany was just so compelling. And now when I put her against Leah, and I mean, not to make these women compete with each other, there's room for all of us, but I'm like, Leah is a star.
Oh, yeah. She's a home run. She puts Bethany,
Oh.
Bethany's in the fucking rear view.
Yeah, when she said, bitch, if you saw my pussy, you'd remember it.
Ooh.
It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, when she said, bitch, I elevate this shit.
Ah,
Wow.
she does. She
Yeah.
does.
I feel like it's like a sports team and like we got one of our own on the team.
That's what it feels like.
Mhm.
Yeah, like we got one in.
And they're playing very well this season.
they're doing very well
Yes, they're
against the old timers.
Yep, they're holding it down.
Because usually we
And
don't
we've
like the
gotten
youngins.
a number of good shots.
We've always said we
Yes.
don't like the young ones. They don't come to us with enough life experience. They don't come with enough
Broken.
Yeah, they don't come with enough baggage for us to sink into. And that's why they've never done as well on the shows.
Sinking in.
And she
just
has come.
She's lived a life.
She has lived a life. And I want all of it. I want all the information on her mental health journey. I want all the information on her parenting. And like, it's, and did you hear, it was sort of like thrown aside at the Mexican restaurant or one of those restaurants where she said that she didn't feel like she was a caretaker, which I was like,
I don't think
I don't remember that.
So Ramona, maybe I misheard it, but I thought Ramona was saying that she is a caretaker for all of her friends. She's always a caretaker. She identifies as a caretaker. And Leah was like, I don't. Like, I'm just, every choice she makes, I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. She's fascinating. I can't take my eyes off her. One last thing I did want to say is that Sonia at the end of the episode said something, and I was like, all these women quantify themselves this way, which is Sonia said she didn't want to go down the hole because she has only 5 more years of earning potential left. Did you hear that? Like, she didn't want to ruin this face, like this mind, this body. Like, she just doesn't want to put herself in any danger because she only has 5 more years of earning potential. And that was tough.
Ramona said that or Sonia?
Sonia.
I prefer hearing earning potential than 5 great summers.
Well, Carol,
from
but
Carol,
all these women are quantified, like, just like we got to get, they're all like running out of time. And I don't mean.
And I feel that too sometimes though. Like I
feel like this pandy has put me back, you know. So
look, it's not great. And this has been terrible for everyone, but like an actress at 40, it's not when you want to go down, you know, your 39th year.
It's true. It's like that's why we got to get other things brewing. I mean, it's why we're doing this right now. I mean, we got to have a couple of irons in the.
We were just having fun.
In the fire. No, we're not, sweetie. Like, we have to be creating other stuff. She's right. And it's just the truth. I'm worried about Sonia because I think in her heart of hearts, she knows like she could absolutely go the way of Grey Gardens. She already has with that townhouse. And she knows what a slippery slope is. She's like one toilet away from like not being able to handle it anymore. And that's scary. She's alone. She is alone. And she can't take care of that building. And I do feel that.
As much as Dorinda says she's alone, Dorinda's alone with a ton of money.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
And as is
like when Dorinda's like, it was such a mess with the contractor and this, I'm like, okay, but you have so much money and you don't do anything but like bop around your neighborhood and say hi like Belle in the opening of Beauty and the Beast. Like Sonia's alone.
Yeah. And you don't see Dorinda like hawking any wares anywhere, peddling any.
Oh, she's trying to get those aerobics started though.
Sure.
She doesn't need to.
But no. Sonia, I mean, she needs that. She needs those things to sell at Century 21.
I hope they do.
Century 21.
How many launches is she going to do? Perfect spot.
It's the
every week is a new launch for her. She's like, this one's got to go well. We just had one 4 weeks ago that went terribly.
We have
best for this
launched
one.
her lines
We
so
have, and
many
she
times.
said, she's like, "Whoa, I've launched a lot."
We've launched
She's like, "This one's
so
got to go well."
many lines. I don't know. I feel like Casey and I might have been the only people that bought. Remember, Lou had a collection for a long time.
Lou had a terrible collection.
The jumpsuit that just gave me such a long vagina. It was so long.
Long vagina. June, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having
This
me.
has
What a
been-
pleasure.
Thank you so much, June.
Thank you so much for having me, you guys. I will
Always a pleasure.
signing off. Casey, I'm just upstairs.
And will you be doing it?
I'll see you in a
Will
second.
you be doing anything?
Well, I got to do my face.
Oh, well, that hasn't been done yet? Okay.
And please
Hasn't
don't
been done yet,
stain
just the
our
body.
sheets with your tanner.
I'll try not to.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Danielle, wonderful seeing you as always.
Always wonderful seeing myself in the Zoom.
Oh, man. Well, this has been a wonderful episode. And I just want to say, get tickets to our live show. It's going to be so much fun. We have so much planned.
So many funny things. Special guest Jason Mantzoukas back.
And another very special
Yes.
guest that Danielle does not even know
What?
about.
Oh,
I have someone very special.
because I know about one guest, but there's somebody else.
I have another one. There's a
Oh,
special.
I'm afraid.
We've got tricks up our sleeves. Danielle and I, we've got a lot
We do.
to offer.
We have some programming.
fun. It's
Programming.
going to be, as Leah said, it's going to be elevated. It's not going to be just this.
We're going to elevate this shit. When you see our pussies, which you will, I didn't tell you about
They're
that.
gonna be
They're
chubby.
going to be chubby, and you're never going to forget them.
That's right. Last quick reminder, we asked you all to participate in a summer book club of nonsense and garbage, and that will take place on August 27th as a section in our normally scheduled podcast with Chelsea Devantes. And we are reading once again Gabrielle Union's book, Nenithia Leak's book, and Leah Remini's book. So guys, get to step in. Let's read by the 27th. And if you have any quotes you'd like to pull or comments, questions, concerns, please email us at bootsonthegroundbs@gmail.com. And we will hopefully read some of these beautiful and powerful quotes.
Before we go, I also just wanted to do a little birthday shout out. Happy birthday to Lauren Moskov. Your friends really love you, especially my
Happy
sister.
birthday, Lauren.
So happy birthday, Lauren. I hope you're having a nice one at home with your family.
Happy birthday. Thank you, Dana. Thank you, Earwolf. Thank you, Caitlin, for editing.
Thank you, Casey.
Oh, thank you, Danielle.
I know.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss June Diane.
Thank
And
you,
thank you,
Mr.
guys.
Dan.
Thank you, guys. Stay
Hope
safe.
everyone's staying safe and healthy and well.
Bye.